welcome to the Knights of Prospect. My name is Vil. Thanks for tuning in tonight for our very first adventure. We are streaming to you live from Improv Boston on Twitch, and you can check out other Improv Boston shows on Twitch 7 days a week. So don't forget to subscribe and keep on tuning in. You can even subscribe for free from your Amazon Prime account. Tonight at 9, we will be having Run On, a live game show from Improv Boston. You can send donations to improvboston.com/donate. And if you donate tonight, the cast will be matching those donations to NAACP Boston. So tonight's a great night to get on that. Knights of Prospect also has donation perks as thank yous to people who donate. You can check out those perks on our Facebook page. A link will be hopping into the Improv Boston Twitch chat for you to check out. And if you would like to claim a perk, then you can email us at knightsofprospect@gmail.com. Also, tonight, we have 4 adventurers on screen that you can see, but there are more adventurers in the Knights of Prospect. And while they aren't on screen tonight, you might be able to see them hopping into the Twitch chat with you. So keep an eye out for that as well. And with that, let's embark on our first adventure.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. We are going to start in Tower Town. It is one of the largest and most prosperous city-states in the Riverlands. It is home to rough-and-tumble docks, noble manors, sprawling markets, and its namesake tower. The Tower of Gifts was built by the elves long before humans even arrived on this continent, and it stands at 500 feet tall, which is about 450 feet taller than anything else here in Tower Town. It is also home to the Arcane College, the center of magical learning in the Riverlands. And that's where you, Chauncey, are studying the arcane arts. Chauncey, you are currently in class, so what class are you taking and who is the teacher?
Oh, I'm taking the class curses and how to look out for them. And it's actually one of my favorite teachers. It's Dr. Toadstool.
So Dr. Toadstool, as her name would suggest,
that's their whole name.
Dr. Toadstool is short, as broad as she is tall, and incredibly, incredibly good at curses. Now, the way she is executing today's lesson is walking up to every student, holding a wand at about eye level, and putting a curse on people. It is up to you to try to deflect that curse. So she's going right down the line. The person before you is your friend Drone.
Drone!
Drone looks at you. He says, okay, I got it. I'm ready. And he puts his hands out. She walks up to him and says, Drone, are you ready? Drone nods. And with a kind of flick of her wrist, essentially a jet of smoke kind of emerges and envelops Drawn in kind of magical steam. Chauncey, is Drawn successful at deflecting this curse?
Half and half.
The half and half part is what you and Drawn were scared of. The top half of him is a horse. The bottom half of him are human legs. And so Drawn begins running wildly around the classroom.
Oh, go, Drone!
His horse head kind of keeping all of him off balance. He smashes into a table full of vials, causing various things to shatter and spark. Chauncey, is there anything you want to do to try to help your friend?
Well, first, I just want to watch him do his thing for a minute. I'm cheering him. I'm trying to get the rest of the class to cheer for him. Come on, everybody. Go, Drone. Go, Drone. Go, Drone.
Go, Drone.
And I use prestidigitation. I put some nice flair around his coat, and I make it swirl a little bit. I make him look really majestic as he's running around the class.
Yeah, at this point, you're all kind of leaning into Drone's failure. So let's have you cast a spell. That's going to be 2d6 plus your intelligence. And as a reminder to everybody, on a 6 or less, the spell fails. On a 7 to 9, the spell is successful, but something happens. And on a 10 plus, you cast it cleanly.
6.
Okay. The good news is that you do in fact get his mane to begin flowing and waving in the breeze in an exceedingly majestic way. You're feeling awfully good about that. The only problem is the hair, the mane itself, begins growing very, very wildly. And at this point, he is now a horse head covered in hair, floating like some horrible, grim specter of death on the battlefield through the magical classroom. Chauncey, you are trying to come up with some other thing to do when you see your brother, Rontomnal, who is... He is a little bit older, but much taller. He is in the doorway of this class, and he is gesturing wildly to you. Come here.
What? What? Go away. This is my class. This isn't your class, Rontomnal.
Look, I'm not trying to get in your way. I think someone broke into your stuff at the dorm.
What?
Someone broke into your stuff. Your stuff.
Where's my book? Did you take everything? Did you take my book?
Why don't you come with me to the dorms? It's bad in there.
1 sec. I turn back around to Drone, and I just haphazardly try to dispel his curse and turn him back into my friend.
You turn and fire a jet of etheric energy at him in the hopes that it would knock something loose. You unfortunately do not stick around to see the result, because you and your brother Rontomnal are now sprinting through the labyrinthian halls of Tower Town, looking for the central shaft of the building.
Good luck, Drone!
The central shaft of this impossibly high tower has this magical disc about 20 feet wide that just slowly rises and falls through the tower in regular increments. So you have to wait for it to come back down to you, and then you and Rontomnal drop onto it and continue to travel all the way down to the first floor. As you pass kind of floor by floor as this thing goes, you see all manner of wonders of the magical world. You see the class of battle mages that are preparing to become silver helmets, which are the magical defenders of Tower Town.
Hello!
They're firing impossibly powerful fire magic at each other. Rontomnal, your older brother, has been tapped early to join the class of battle mages. He would be, in fact, the youngest to join that class in several years. A fact that you know very well because he tells you about it all the time. You continue through, the Griffin Aviary and all the various offices. It's just kind of this vertical carousel of wonders as you eventually settle on the ground floor of this impossible tower. You work your way through a mass of wizards walking with heavy books and silver helmet-clad Tower Town guardsmen. Everyone seems to know Rontomnal. They're nodding to him, he's waving. There are people running up to him to ask him questions, and he's brushing off. No, I have to help my younger brother. I'm sorry, I'll talk to you later. And you follow about a foot behind. This area is also full of tourists, because the first floor of the Tower of Gifts is the only place open to the public. Everything above it is a combination of City Hall, Magical College, and Army Base. But this is where a lot of the tourists like to go and see, because this is still kind of this massive room of wonders.
Hello, I am a wizard. Hello, yes.
Wizard, eh? What can you do?
Chauncey.
Are you a battle mage?
Who needs questions when you can do magics? And I try to light everyone up in the room.
Yeah, let's just have you roll that real quick. Try to cast a spell. Let's use your light spell for this. I'm going to say it's a -1 to the roll because you're trying to safely get everyone to glow instead of inanimate objects, which you normally work with.
It's gonna be super cool, everyone. 5.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Everyone is going to be great. And you gather kind of a crowd around you. And you do indeed kind of put your arms out, and a blinding spray of light kind of arcs into the air. The problem is the blinding part, though. The enthusiasm of the situation, the fact that you have an enwrapped crowd, you kind of pour a little too much energy into this one, and all of the tourists in here can no longer see. They are glowing, the air is glowing, the walls are glowing, and your hands are glowing bright, bright white. That said, you sprint on through after the applause you expected does not end up materializing. And you bound across out the main entrance, past the silver helmets, eventually to the row of dormitories where the younger students, you and your brother included, are housed. They're nestled right within the courtyard grounds of the Arcane College, which are splendid and gorgeous and always in bloom thanks to the magics of the people here. Chauncey, I want you to describe the dorm. Are they single rooms, a large bunkhouse? What is it? What's in it?
Oh, there's a nice common area, right? We have there's a seat for 2 people. There's a nice cushy couch for 3. There's a fireplace it's not on right now. No one's really tried to use that for a while. And then those common areas jet out into rooms where there's 1 to 2 people in each area.
Are you roommates with your brother or not?
Oh no.
So it's you and Drone that are in fact roommates. Drone is obviously not in here since
I hope Drone's still
class.
not a horse.
Fingers crossed, or hooves, either way. But you walk through, and unsurprisingly, since it's the middle of the day and class is in session, there's no one here but you and your brother. And, at this point, you kind of take the lead and you walk in, you throw open your door, and, yeah, your book is gone. The ancient, enchanted book that you discovered and have been trying to crack the secrets of is gone.
I immediately start gathering any materials. I'm trying to cast a spell to track my book. I'm gonna track the trail of my book.
It is very chaotic in here, and you're trying to conjure kind of the magical strength to track this thing. The problem, of course, is that the book itself is inscrutable to you right now. You've made very little progress unearthing the secrets of this large, ancient books. All you know is that some of the pages are empty, some of the pages are full. It's written in at least several different languages, and there's something about it where you start drawing in chalk on the ground and maybe creating a ritual circle to try to figure out where an artifact of this power would wander off to, and you have nothing. But thankfully, you know of friends that can help. Vil, you are at the Elk Crest Farmhouse, the hunting and forestry collective on the outskirts of Tower Town, along with Hobie, who is your friend, business partner, and also a duck. Vil, what are you and Hobie doing at the Elk Crest Farmhouse today?
Oh, we're enjoying a big bowl of Wilma's famous beef stew, of course.
You are sitting at the table after a long week of hunting and tracking. You made kind of a long walk into the Silver Forest along your expected hunting trails, and it was a productive week. And after you brought your kill back here, you were able to train some of the other novice hunters and rangers on how to prepare, gut, and cure the various animals you have taken down. And after a week of working and teaching, you and Hobie are very excited to just sit and eat. Wilma, your friend and the owner of the Elk Crest Farmhouse, puts in front of you a very large bowl of stew and a smaller bowl in front of Hobie. And how are the
Thank you,
two of
Wilma.
you doing this week? Oh, you are very welcome.
We're doing great. We had a couple great kills, and the young ones around here are doing a lot better. They must be practicing.
Every single day. Tough world out there. Gotta learn skills, of course.
Believe me, I know.
That's how's he doing? Wilma points to a young trapper that you're training. Couldn't be more than 15. What's his name?
Gargon.
Gargon, you've worked with a couple of times, and Gargon has some degree of natural skill at all of these things. Kind of deft hands, very attentive. But today he is, he kind of nods at you and kind of looks at Hobie for a second, and is apparently trying to get up the nerve to talk to one or both of you. Vil?
Yeah? Do you want to sit down?
Yeah, if that's okay.
That's fine. I'm just enjoying my dinner.
Oh, okay. Can I ask about your duck?
He's not my duck. He's a duck, and he's my business partner.
Okay.
Would you like to ask me a question about
Yeah.
my friend Hobie?
Yeah, I would like that very much. What does he do?
What does he do? Well, he comes with me on all of my quests, and he's extremely smart. So we have really great conversations. He's a great judge of people, much better than me. So he keeps me out of trouble that way, and he helps me track together because he can fly and I can't.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Is that what you're wondering?
Yeah, well, it's just, some of the trappers and hunters around here, they they tell tales, and they told me that Hobie is the smartest person that they've ever met, and I'm not sure if they're trying to make fun of me or if
Nobody's
it's the
making
truth.
fun of you or Hobie. Hobie is the smartest person that I've ever met, and I think everyone around here has noticed that.
And you're saying he's a judge of character?
Yes.
Okay, well, what's he have to
He
say
saved
about
me
me
from
then?
a few people. Well, I don't know. Hobie, what do you think? Uh-huh. Huh. Yeah, he thinks you're okay.
Okay, well, okay's pretty good, I guess.
Well, it's not bad.
I guess not, especially if Hobie's seen people worse than me, then maybe that's not too bad.
Oh, Hobie's seen people way worse than you.
Oh, wow. Hobie, you are a tough mallard.
He is.
Thank you for being honest with me about everything. And
Listen,
thank you,
kid,
Vil, as well.
I'm sorry if I was a little harsh. Okay? Your traps are looking tight. You're doing a good job around here. I know you're a hard worker, even if you're not the best shot. And
I'll get there.
I know that I come on strong about this duck, but a lot of people underestimate him. And he's a lot more wise than you or I.
That's fair. Well, I won't betray the hopes and faith that you and Hobie have in me. So, thank you very much. After lunch, I'm going to get back to traps.
Good on ya.
Gargan runs off and finishes his beef stew. Hobie has already finished his and is staring at the main door to the big barn that is the Elkcrest farmhouse. You turn around and see Chauncey standing in the doorway, out of breath. We will cut to Raz. Raz, you are currently performing a wedding somewhere in Tower Town. So, Raz, who is getting married, and where is this wedding taking place?
These are two parishioners in my church. It is Wendy Waterhose and Marcus Markhausen, and I'm marrying them at a field just outside of the city gates.
Yeah, it's really a very beautiful beautiful time for it. It's late spring, early summer. Things are in bloom. The roses are up. Tower Town itself is a beautiful city because of the magics of the city. Everything inside the gates are always blooming, but there's something a bit unnatural about it. You know, roses shouldn't be in bloom all year, and so a lot of those that are young and in love decide to get married outside the city gates, where you are, because they want to see actual natural flowers, and there's something about the fact that the flowers are in bloom right now for real, with no magical intervention, is very beautiful. So Wendy and Marcus both are, kind of standing, kind of very upright. They both have small families, but they're all gathered. They are wearing their absolute best and waiting attentively for you to deliver your marriage sermon.
What do we have here today? We have two beings. Both beings have experiences. Both beings beat with a heart full of love. And today those experiences and those hearts intertwine into one being. One bigger being made of two smaller beings. And that is what love is. One big love made of two smaller loves. And I take each of their hands and I say, you may profess your vows.
They both stumble through kind of prepared remarks that they have memorized. Wendy is a little more eloquent, Marcus a little more halting, but it is very clear that they are in love. Well, actually, let's talk about your parish a little bit. So you are a cleric and priest of Enteresh the Shepherd, one of the three aspects of Enteresh, he who brought humanity across the sea. And so Enteresh the Shepherd, followers of Enteresh the Shepherd in your parish, kind of all, they hail from different backgrounds, but what generally unites the people of your parish?
The idea that there are always new discoveries to be made, even in the most mundane events and objects and experiences, to always be on the lookout for new.
And that's what Wendy and Marcus kind of both talk about. They are not wealthy people. People in your parish really aren't, but they talk about the joy of the summer bloom. They talk about kind of the mysteries of the harvest and the festival of gifts when the elves will arrive later this summer, and how exciting that every day will be so long as the two of them are together. You kind of keep the sermon moving after that, and it is very stirring. So I want you to roll your 2d6 plus wisdom. This is going to be essentially how much kind of religious gravitas do you put into this?
That would be a 5.
So, this is a this is a group of people that it's really not your fault, honestly. You're a good priest. You know your parish well. This is an unseasonably warm day, and so after these two profess their vows, you get a sense from the crowd that they are expecting you to say something like, "You may now kiss," and for all of you to go inside where it's cooler. But you read the room, and now is really the time to start digging into the religious underpinnings of marriage and marriage within the faith. And sweat begins rolling down the faces of the bride and groom. Mercifully, though, the wedding, as beautiful as it is interrupted when you see Chauncey and Vil sprinting out from the city gates, entirely out of breath.
Raz!
Chauncey, Vil?
Hi, everyone!
Oh, jeez, is this a wedding?
Yes.
Does anyone want fireworks?
Yikes.
I'm gonna give you some.
I'm sort of in the middle of talking about the Enteresh text number 12.
I feel like they probably get the gist. Maybe we could go have a chat.
You guys want to join in? You want to have a seat? I'm really getting into the heart of this. It's gonna be
my book's gone. Hi everyone. I need help. I shoot some fireworks off into the sky.
Oh, those are nice.
That's probably enough.
And the wedding takes a turn towards the fantastic. And while the crowd is boiling under the early summer sun, who doesn't love good fireworks? Let's switch to somewhere inside. Winnie, you are currently performing in one of your favorite venues in Tower Town. So, Winnie, what is the name of this venue, and what is the last song of the evening that you're playing to these people?
The venue is The Boiling Pig. I enjoy it for its colorful characters. Really, no more receptive an audience. For my final song, I'm going to perform Good Night, Sweet Goblin, to put a spell of rest onto these lovely folks before they head home after their lunch.
So not only are you going to sing, you are going to infuse your song with the bardic magics that you have trained in during your elven upbringing outside of these Riverlands. So let's roll your 2d6 plus charisma, and as a reminder, as with all things, 6 or less is a failure, 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 plus, and everything works out a-okay.
7.
So you
8. Sorry.
So you have a choice. I'll give you a choice. The song is either beautiful or magically effective, but not both.
I have been performing every night this week, and I don't think anyone could blame me if my voice was a little bit rough, but my magic is not.
That is fair. So you generally sing unaccompanied because of the strength of your voice, and also because when it's just kind of you and your instrument, you're able to kind of pull from the earth the magics necessary to have their desired effects. And you feel the magic bubbling up through the ground. You feel it kind of coming up through your legs and into your hands and kind of out. And you know that everyone here at the Boiled Pig is going to rest very, very well. That does not necessarily translate into good tips this evening, because after a long night of songs and dialogue, a couple of the patrons are disappointed that you didn't truly bring the house down. But every single one of them, to a person, kind of yawns and looks at their sweetie or their sweetie for the evening, and starts to wander off. The
right.
bartender walks up to you. What's the bartender's name here? Bartender and
Oh.
owner, I should say.
Of course. Her name is Lyd.
So Lyd is fairly young, considering she owns a large bar that is, that is in kind of the merchant's quarter of town. So it's a fairly nice bar. But she walks up. Well, I guess that ends the week's residency. If you want to come back next week, you are more than welcome, but it sounds like you might need a day or two off.
I might need a little vocal rest, but I want you to know that my magic is still running full force. And while I appreciate this opportunity, I also think, I'm sorry, I'm not good at this. Confrontation. I think you need to be paying me more. I'm an artist. And to rely entirely on tips is not fair. You know, when Jeff, the one with the lute, comes in and performs, you pay him a much higher rate than you pay me.
Have you and Jeff been talking about how much the two of you have been making?
Maybe.
All right, well, fine. I want you to roll your charisma. This is going to be a parlay. Lyd does not want to pay you more. You want to be paid more. A tale as old as time. 2d6 plus charisma. See what you get.
9.
Okay, so that's a partial success. Lyd, kind of stares at the floor a little bit and says, "All right, fine, but you have to do something for me. I will pay you exactly what I pay Jeff for all of your performances. But you have to teach me to sing. I'll pay you for it, but you have to teach me."
All right. Show me what you got.
Okay. Lyd takes a deep breath and begins what could best be described as an enthusiastic rendition of the song about goblins that you just sang.
Good night, Goblin.
In a word, it's pitchy. It's pitchy, and she's not controlling her breath, and her eyes are darting all over the place. And you realize that in agreeing to teach her, you have embarked upon one of the most trying undertakings of your entire year. More on that later. As for now, this impromptu concert has been interrupted by the fact that Chauncey, Vil, and Raz have entered the Boiling Pig entirely out of breath.
Hey, is somebody in
Winnie!
trouble in here? It sounded like someone was screeching or something from the outside.
Don't never sing! Don't!
There
And
they are!
Don't
a
let
bartender
me-
runs out of the room crying.
Oh,
There's a
boy.
lot of work to
Oh.
do there.
Winnie,
An emotional
hi,
day.
hello, hi everyone. I just sent more fireworks up into the sky. Hi everyone, Winnie. My book's gone rom tom. Joel had to show me. And help.
Your book?
Help.
The one with all those spells and powers and...
The really cool book. I don't even get the whole
It's
thing
his
yet.
coolest book.
It's the coolest book, Winnie.
I mean, if it's your coolest book, then of course that I'll help you.
Yeah.
The four of you, sometime later, are in Chauncey's room within the dormitory, looking at what has happened. Chauncey explains that the room is pretty much untouched, aside from the small chalk ritual circle that he tried to lay out on the ground to track the book down.
Okay, hold on. Nobody touch anything. Hobie, take a look.
Hobie's gonna find it. Go, Hobie, go.
Okay. So the winning duo of you and Hobie begin kind of exploring the room and getting a sense of things. So
I'm
let's
following
roll-
Hobie around the room.
Hobie is now you obviously all know each other since you are all petitioning to join the famed Knights of Prospect, which is, as we all know, the incredibly famous knightly order that travels the Riverlands doing good deeds. So you have been on some number of adventures together, you and your other companions, in the hopes of impressing the Knights of Prospect. And so you know that your friends, Chauncey, are particularly skilled people, generally upright, well-intentioned, if anything, and chief among them in terms of intelligence is probably Hobie. It's an inscrutable intelligence to you, but you are certain, mainly because Vil is certain, that Hobie has everything figured out. So Hobie is wandering around the room, taking small, cautious duck steps. You are following Hobie, taking similarly small, cautious duck steps. Vil, let's roll your hunt and track. That is 2d6 plus your wisdom, plus 1 because of Hobie as well.
That's going to be a 9.
Okay, fantastic. So that is a partial success, which means you are able to essentially follow the trail here. So what is it that you and Hobie discover that gives you this lead?
What's going on, Phil?
Chauncey, it's a good thing you don't clean your room very often.
I always told my roomie Drone that we probably shouldn't clean the room for magical reasons.
Yeah, for magical reasons. I'm sure that's true. And also we can see the trail right out the door left by, what is this dust? Cracker dust?
Yeah, and
Were you having a snack?
Yeah, I reach over and I grab, there's one cracker left on the table and I eat that. Yeah, it was before class. You gotta get your energy up to try to dispel curses, but Drone still turned into a horse anyway.
Okay. Well, we can see the trail of the cracker dust left by the person who took the book, who I'm guessing got it out of that chest, right?
Yeah.
Was it locked?
Most of the time, I magically lock it. I can't remember if I lock it all the time. No.
Well, if it's an unpickable lock, then you must have left it by accident. Does that sound like you?
That sounds exactly like me.
Okay. So they grabbed it out of that chest, and then they stopped also at this drawer here.
Oh.
It's slightly ajar.
Yeah.
Was there something else?
That's where I got some special books out of the library. I might have been trying to look at some necromancy books and I had them in there.
Necromancy. Chauncey.
I'm trying to learn stuff.
Chauncey, you know necromancy freaks me out.
Wait, think about it, Phil. There I am at the magic fair, and I'm like, oh no, I forgot my project, right? The annual magic fair. But then I'm like, oh right, now I remember. And then suddenly a horde of zombies rise from the ground, and they cheer my name, and then I win.
That's all I need to hear about the zombies. It looks like they took your library books too.
That's maybe
in the middle of the room. I'm telling Winnie about the sermon I was giving back at the wedding and describing to her the intricacies of Enteresh Book 12.
That ceremony sounds absolutely lovely. Might I come and observe your next one?
Oh, of course. It's often a common practice to have random guests show up and just sort of observe the practice of joining.
If that's a common practice, if you need any kind of like, I've been basically giving out spectacles all day. If you need someone to kind of zazz up your,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you need anyone to sing or play music, I have very recent precedent that my pay rate has increased. So,
Well, that's
Yeah, and
good.
if you need any other help with that, no thank you. Shall we follow the cracker dust?
To the cracker dust.
You do indeed follow the cracker dust, and it's pretty apparent the entry and exit that these burglars took, burglars, I suppose. They walked in through the front door. That's the sense that both Vil and Hobie get. Walked directly into Chauncey's room, stole his kind of inscrutable magical artifact book, as well as the property of the Arcane College, specifically a part of the Arcane College's library that is off limits to students of Chauncey's age. So this is not only about reclaiming an important artifact, but restoring Chauncey's good standing to the college before, of course, anyone realizes that these highly off-limit books are out in the world. So this kind of leads you to think of a few different things. One, you're pretty sure this was not some random act of burglary. This person or persons knew exactly what they were looking for. And also, they were fairly good at it. The one thing that they couldn't expect, which what burglar could, is a young wizard's room being so dirty and so full of cracker crumbs that it would actually leave visible footprints out of the building. Eventually, after kind of the footprints hit the streets of Tower Town in the courtyard of the Arcane College, you kind of lose the visible footprints. But Hobie has a scent, and Hobie is following it, and so for those tourists that were stopping to smell the always blooming roses of the Tower Town courtyard, the most observant would notice, in order, a duck, a ranger, a wizard, a bard, and a cleric walking single file, following an invisible trail of invisible breadcrumbs. This continues through the winding paths of the courtyard, through one of the gates that at night is guarded, but during the day is wide open, and out into the city proper. Hobie guides you not terribly far, a couple of blocks and then one over, and you land right at the foot of a squat stone church to Enteresh the Defender. Now, as a quick aside, Enteresh, she who brought humans across the oceans, is worshipped in many different aspects. Raz is a priest of Enteresh the Shepherd, who favors the discovery of things, fate, finding joy in the mundane. Enteresh the Defender is a more militaristic wing of Enteresh worship. It's about kind of the primacy of self-reliance and those that can kind of defend themselves against against threats and against the weather even. So everyone's worshiping Enteresh, but it's about these different aspects. Raz, this is a church you know fairly well. It's not terribly far from your parish here in Tower Town, but it doesn't really have a terribly big congregation. So you're all standing. In fact, the sense you got is you were pretty sure that this congregation was going to join another congregation. This building is kind of barely in use. But you're all kind of standing outside the church, and Raz, you open the door, and inside is a small, kind of sparsely adorned church that is, in good repair. There are a couple of people, praying in some of the pews, but aside from that, it's empty.
Raz,
Mm-hmm.
you know this place?
Been here a couple of times, yeah. Know the priest here. His
You
name
do.
is, yeah, his name is Riz. He's been here for probably 3 years. It's kind of a smaller parish. They get their divinity from doing. The action of doing kind of gives them faith.
Would doing stealing a book? Would they do that?
No, people of the parish would never do that. You know, Riz comes from sort of a darkish background, but I can't imagine that he would steal something like that, especially something from Arcane College. Nah, no way.
Where
That's
can we?
not his divinity.
Divinity?
Where might we find his? I don't know what you call it. Office. His where would he store items, or where might he
Well, every
be?
His divinatorium.
I see.
Eh,
Good job, Phil.
Every church has a basement storage facility where Enteresh's texts are generally kept. Usually, there's an office down there where we can study. It's quiet. It's
Oh.
dark. There's a candle lit area. So
Sounds
we
like
just
the
gotta
perfect place
find the
to take a
door.
book.
Perhaps, yes. Assuming it hasn't been burnt or sold.
I'd go right down into the basement.
I follow Winnie.
You go right down into the basement. The door is locked, but Winnie, you don't really think much of it, and draw your Winnie, what weapon do you carry?
I have a curved knife and a bow.
And so you take your curved knife and you use the hilt of it to essentially smash the lock open. Locks on church doors aren't terribly strong, since who would rob a church of Enteresh? But you smash it apart and kind of open the door, and you walk down a kind of a low staircase into kind of a small hallway, the bottom of which there is a door. Raz, now, actually, you know what? I want you to roll 2d6 plus your wisdom.
Nine.
Okay. There is a general sense of unclean here, a ripple in the strength of your faith. There's something on the other side of that door, and you don't like it because it's not holy, whatever it is.
Raz,
I'm gonna ask for Enteresh's guidance here, just to see if we're fated to find what we're looking for behind this door.
Absolutely. You are going to petition Enteresh to grant you some useful knowledge. So, in essence, we're going to roll this as a discern realities roll. So this is going to be 2d6 plus wisdom. Because you are communing with Enteresh, you will be able to learn things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to learn.
4.
It is a testament to whatever is going on behind this door that Enteresh is eerily silent. What does communing with Enteresh look like, Raz?
I look up to the sky and I yell, Enteresh, speak to me!
hello. I start yelling too. Help,
no, Chauncey,
please.
just keep,
I
I can't hear anything.
I'm helping.
This is not helping. I can't, it's echoing.
Oh, I misunderstood.
It's all good. I can't hear anything anyway.
Oh,
The silence in here is unnerving, but mercifully that silence is broken by goof, goof, the sound of banging and scraping against the door.
Raz, we did it.
Yeah, we woke up something.
It's a sign.
Well, whatever it is, it sounds big. I draw my bow.
Maybe I can get whatever it is on the other side to fall asleep before we enter.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting kind of antsy.
I think, my performance earlier tonight warmed me up. I think I'm prepared to try Goodnight Goblin again. If
You're gonna sing it a lullaby?
Why not? Do you have a better idea?
Shoot it.
I'm gonna try. Just one verse.
Right? Use your arcane art, 2d6 plus charisma. For reasons I cannot share with you, you will take a -1 to this roll.
7. Good night, Goblin. Good night, Goblin. Good night, Goblin. It's time to go to sleep.
I through the door cast prestidigitation to try to make a carousel of tiny, beautiful horses to amplify the effects of the lullaby on the villains.
I'm going to say you do that. You don't necessarily know what it looks like in there because you can't put your eyes on it, but whatever is behind that door, the last thing they see before they go to sleep is a beautiful carousel of bright dancing imagery.
This don't put anything to sleep.
Winnie, Chauncey,
Raz?
Vil, Raz, you
Raz
hear
fell
the...
asleep. Raz, wake up. Raz.
Oh, are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The three of you
nice.
that did not fall asleep due to Winnie's song hear the unmistakable sound of a body slumping over. Unfortunately, that does not stop the sound of clawing and banging, though.
Guys, I'm really worried that they're tearing up my book.
The door shakes in its hinges.
Oh, okay, good. It seems like it's trying to help us open the door. Go
ahead.
I'm gonna try to burn like the knob off this hinges, just burn this door, all the mechanisms that are holding this door together down.
Sure. I'll have you roll magic missile for that. You can blow that doorknob apart.
I'm gonna stand back and keep my arrow trained in case I have to let it loose.
I go right up to the doorknob and I put my hands right on that. 8.
Okay. So, casting ranged magical attacks at melee range in a House of Enteresh is doing some very weird things to the magical vibrations of this place.
I got this.
I'm going to say that you disrupt the fabric of reality in here, and you're going to take -1 on future rolls. But for now, the knob of that door explodes. And the door swings open, and scrambling forward into this narrow stairwell is a small... Actually, I'm going to take back the word small. There is no such thing as small when you are talking about a horde of skeletons.
This is just like the science fair I wanted.
Bones and claws and shaved down hands, empty, gaunt, hollow eyes and bleached white skulls pouring forward into this small vestibule. Raz, Chauncey, you are up front. Winnie and Vil, you are right behind with bows out.
Yeah, my hands are still out and hot. I'm just trying to shoot more magic missiles.
All right, Chauncey, you could go first. Roll magic missile again with a -1 because you are playing with weird etheric energy in here.
5!
You are firing magic missiles. One of them slams into the ceiling above one of the skeletons, causing a small collapse of bricks. You take 4 damage because one of the skeletons lumbers forward and with kind of an icy hand reaches out and grabs you by the shoulder and starts digging in with inhuman force.
Ow!
Who wants to go next?
I want to try to get them to attack each other by just letting out a blood-curdling musical scream.
Ah, yes. The bardic skill, it goes to 11. These are undead, so essentially, and you know this, by the way, because you have learned as part of your bardic training about spells and magics. Essentially, you are not necessarily using your magic against the skeletons. You are using them against their master, wherever that master is. So given that, I'm going to put a -1 on this roll, but if it works, it works.
It's a 9.
It works. You draw unwanted attention to yourself in the form of a skeleton that, and this is horrifying, the skeleton is wielding a knife made of bone, which, something about that is very unnerving to you. You unleash kind of this crazed musical performance. You buffet this horde of skeletons with sound. One of them stabs you in the leg as it kind of starts crawling towards the ground. But one of the skeletons you see kind of stop its screaming, bracing, clawing action, turn, and rip the head off of one of his companions. That skeleton collapses, and then the other skeleton becomes very confused and starts wandering off. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Mhm.
How many are there?
3, maybe 4. It's dark, they are backlit, and you are shoulder to shoulder in an entryway, so you can't really guess.
All right. Hobie, slow him down. Hobie knows that means to fly in between their heads to distract them.
Go, Hobie!
Hobie, was Hobie in his sling?
Yeah,
So
his legs got tired on the way over here.
it was a long walk for Hobie, so at some point Vil tucked him into his sling. Vil kind of unleashes Hobie from his carrying pouch, and Hobie, brave as he is, begins flying and banking through the heads, through and around the heads of skeletons. The skeletons' attacks now become confused. They were oddly coordinated. They were walking together and clawing together, but now they kind of have broken cohesion. They begin kind of flailing at Hobie, but Hobie is mercifully agile enough to avoid it. Raz, what do you want to do?
I'm going to cast Turn Undead.
Turn Undead. Not a thing used terribly often, but you know how to do it. So roll 2d6 plus wisdom and call upon your god to smite these undead.
In an attempt to assist, I start yelling again, Entourage!
I'm going to give you +1 just due to your pluck. So 2d6 plus wisdom +1 for Chauncey's assistance.
7.
All right. This is one of those things, Raz, where, they teach clerics how to do this, but because necromancy is either fully outlawed or strongly discouraged in every corner of civilization, you don't really get to use it that much. So you kind of close your eyes and think not just of Entoresh, but of the training of years ago. And you summon the strength. What does Turn Undead look like?
Turn Undead looks like a tornado that is made of the dust from the room, and slowly it starts swirling around and pushing the undead back away from us, creating like a little dust bubble around us.
That is exactly what happens. There is a great kind of swirling wind coming up from the ground itself. The dust of bone meal and of ages is now creating this vortex of wind and magical divine energy. This gives you kind of the moment you need to all form up into what could best be described as battle ranks. Winnie and Vil, you begin drawing and firing arrows, avoiding Hobie as he's swarming and banking through the dust cloud. Winnie and Vil, the two of you shoot a skeleton through the same part of the skull, and it splits open and drops. Raz, with the protective bubble of Enteresh's love and light around you, you pull your mace from under your wedding vestments, because you always carry a mace, you have to, and wade forward and smash one to bits. Chauncey, you are with one hand blinding these skeletons with fireworks and with the other launching magic missiles that are blowing them asunder. After a short and savage battle, the skeletons have been reduced to their component parts, and you walk into the room. In addition to the skeletons, there is one other thing on the ground. Riz, the priest of this church, wearing over his holy vestments a black and purple robe that should not belong to any priest of Enteresh. And in his hands is the book.
Raz, what's up with this? What's up with this guy?
Is that the book?
That's my book. This is the guy with my book. He stepped on all my crackers and he took my book and then he made skeletons at us.
Why would he take this book?
Why would he step on my crackers? It's a very magical book.
Why would he animate skeletons?
Because he probably stole my idea for the magic fair.
Chauncey, that freaks me out.
I
While
didn't
they all
like it.
talk, I go and just rip the book from his hands.
Go, Winnie!
He's asleep on the ground. You rip the book from his hands, and he begins to stir. Thankfully, Vil, you are able to kind of tie him up hands and feet with the same kind of knotwork you were teaching Gargan as recently as yesterday. You know, once he is kind of securely trussed, you shake him awake, and his eyes kind of they're batting off the magical sleep that Winnie put him in, and he looks at you, Raz.
Riz?
This I would say this isn't what it looks like, but I think it's exactly what it looks like.
What
It
happened here?
looks freaky.
It looks terrible.
Jerk.
The parish was going away. We just didn't have the people. They were going to some of the other churches, and I wanted to use what was in that book and the other books that I took to find a way to commune with the spirits of previous priests and pastors, maybe strengthen the bond between this church and Enteresh. I was overzealous. You must be Chauncey, the one I stole from.
I try to shoot a magic missile at his foot.
You do, and it blows a hole in the ground at his feet. Enteresh the Defender rewards those that take action, and I would not let this parish go away. I would not let the people join your church, Raz, or another church. I was a fool.
Your first duty is to the people, Riz. Come on, you know that.
I know. I got overzealous. I started casting spells I knew nothing about. And instead of communing with an ancestor, I ended up pulling their skeletons from the earth.
Ugh. Oh.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
Well, you'll have to repent in front of Enteresh. You could have gotten us all killed.
Yes, I know.
I take my book from Winnie and I look at it and I start nodding and pretending that I can understand what's inside of it. My book.
We cracked the skulls of those skeletons for you.
Yes, and I thank you for it.
Raz, should I untie this guy?
Yeah, go ahead.
I untie him, and I do it in an intimidating way.
Both you and Hobie are giving him the evil eyes.
I set up another little carousel, but this time the horses are all demonic looking and they're going around his head and they're mocking him.
Yeah, they're weird and twisted and dark, and one of them is your friend Drone, so it's a horse with tiny little human legs.
Drone showed me how to make a really horrible looking horse today.
I hum a song of guilt and regret in Riz's direction.
And I say, we'll be watching you. And more important, he'll be watching you.
The journey to repentance for this priest begins now. And mercifully, the residents of Tower Town will not know the dangers of a skeletal invasion from the basement of an old church.
I set up fireworks and leave the room.
And with one last bold display of fire, you set the room alight one more time and wander back to your library to return some very overdue books. All of you go about your days after sharing one last nod up above on the street outside the church, knowing that though you did fine work today, it is almost certainly still not enough to join the Knights of Prospect. We will end it there, everyone. Great work.
Oh, wow. Thank you, GM. And thank you, all of you, for watching our very first adventure with the Knights of Prospect. And thank you for the donations that you've made during this hour. Don't forget that those will be matched up to $250 to NAACP Boston. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Improv Boston Live at twitch.tv to keep up with all the great content that Improv Boston is putting out every single day of the week. And if you are hungry for more tonight, you can catch Run On at 9 o'clock. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, Knights of Prospect. And if you'd like to grab a perk, email us at knightsofprospect@gmail.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.